This is episode number 10 of the Expert Table Tennis Podcast. My name is Ben Larcombe, and on today's show, I'm joined by Rory Scott. If you're on the kind of UK tournament circuit, I'm sure you'll be well aware of who Rory is. He's been going around doing all the tournaments for years. If you're from further afield, you'll get to know more about Rory in the episode. But the reason I got him on the show is because a few months ago, he started his own Expert in a Year challenge. So I wanted to get him on, talk through some of what he was going through, how he was finding it, and just kind of check in and see how he's doing. So let's get straight into the interview with Rory Scott. So I'm joined on the show today by Rory Scott. Rory, hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thank you. It's great to have you on the show.
No problem.
Everyone in the UK will probably know who you are. You've been on the tournament circuit for years, going up and down the country playing. But for everyone outside of the UK, do you want to give us just a little bit of background information to you and how you got into table tennis?
Yeah, well, I didn't start till I was 15 on holiday in France. Came back and just started playing about 3 hours a day every day in school and went from there, really. But yeah, I've been playing for about 24 years. So yeah, and I'm a full-time coach now as well, and I referee tournaments as well. So all aspects of table tennis, really.
So you're pretty involved in table tennis?
Yeah.
And you're Irish, that's right?
Yeah, that's right.
So did you grow up in Ireland?
Yeah, I didn't come to England until I was 24 for university, my second degree, which I'm a table tennis coach now, so I'm not really using my degree, but yeah.
Okay, and then you've been living in England ever since then?
Yeah, since 2000 it was.
Okay, so the last kind of 15 years you've been living in England and playing in England. Whereabouts do you live at the moment?
In Horsham, in Sussex.
And that's where you've got your own club and you do your coaching in the schools and everything? Yeah,
I've got a club called Horsham Spinners Table Tennis Club, which I started in September 2011.
And that's mainly aimed at kids, or is that for all?
It's
all
mainly
ages?
juniors. We've got 4 coaching sessions a week and a junior league. But adults are welcome to come along. There's a couple of adults that come along, and we've got league teams which are mainly adults as well. So
cool. Well, I was trying to think actually when the first time was that we actually met. I think it was probably something like 2007 when I was at Grantham. I don't know if you can remember any better than that.
I'm sure I saw you when you were a junior, because you used to play against some of my juniors, Stephen Eckford and stuff, in Sippenham tournaments and stuff like that.
Okay, that's probably true.
Yeah.
I know. I remember you were a thorn in my side for a long time with your funny rubbers, and I used to get quite frustrated losing. But we had a lot of good matches over the years.
Yeah, some close ones.
Okay, so when was it? February the 26th, about 5 months ago now, you dropped me an email saying that you were thinking about starting up your own kind of Expert in a Year challenge and getting into practice.
Yeah.
What were kind of your goals with that, and how's it going? Where did the idea come from?
Well, the idea came from the fact that I would like to play for Ireland in the veterans. I'm 38.
Okay.
And for a long time now, I've wanted to start training properly at about that kind of age to get to the standard where I can compete for Ireland in the veterans. And then obviously you had your Expert in a Year with Sam, and that just kind of fitted together with what I wanted to do. And so what I've been trying to do, I mean, the original goal was to do 8 to 10 hours a week. It hasn't worked out quite as well as that, because the main thing is it's difficult to get people to practice with at the times that I'm available, because I'm booked up with coaching in evenings and stuff and matches and whatever. So I've got to try and fit it in between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. during the day. And obviously a lot of people are working at that time. So it's mostly older people who are retired that I'm playing with, but there's some decent standard players, and other people obviously have their days off and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going okay. I'm doing about 6 hours a week at the moment, but obviously I've got some training camps booked up in August, 4 weeks. So hopefully that will bring the numbers up a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereabouts are you going on the training camps?
So the first week of August is a day in Denmark and 5 days in Sweden. This is organised by Jeff Ware, father of Matt Ware. and there's a group of us going over there. That's the first week in Sweden. Second week is in France. It's called Hennebont. Chris Kelly actually told me about it and recommended it. He's the father of Danielle Kelly, a junior girl table tennis player. And the third one is in Harefield Academy in London, run by Ellie Baratti. A number of good coaching and coaches and sparring partners in that as well. So that looks good. And the fourth one is in Dusseldorf, Borussia Dusseldorf in Germany, which is one of the best clubs in Europe. The Champions League winners a few times and stuff like that. So yeah, it looks interesting.
So you got a pretty chock-a-block August.
Yeah, I mean, they're all 5 days each, except the Sweden one. We've also got a day in Denmark, just because of the way it worked out. We were there for a day extra. So 1 day in Denmark and 5 in Sweden.
Okay, so you'll have a few days rest in between them.
Yeah, we've got the weekends, but one of those weekends is the Liverpool Grand Prix. So
okay.
That weekend will be pretty busy as well.
So you'll pretty much be playing table tennis all day, every day for the whole of August?
Pretty much, yeah. And there's actually, to be honest, the last weekend of August is another big tournament in Ireland, the Irish Classification Tournament. So I'll be doing that on that weekend as well.
Okay. Have you done anything like this before, kind of so intensive?
Not at all, no. I mean, I've just done odd days here and there. I mean, I've been to Harefield Academy a few times with Ellie Baratti, bits and pieces, but nothing like this. I mean, I've been the kind of person who just plays matches, play like 2, maybe 3 league matches a week, plus all the tournaments, but I've not really ever really trained much. I've done bits and pieces, but nothing like this.
I think you find a lot of players kind of fall into that category where they're always playing matches, but they've never really had the opportunity to get in kind of the training that the top junior players get, or get that kind of coaching. Yeah,
the opportunities aren't really there for adults. I mean, for me, it's difficult to get. I mean, not trying to be big-headed or anything, but it's difficult to get enough quality training partners at the level that I'm at if you go on a coaching session or whatever. So that's one of the issues. And plus, there's a lot of coaching sessions are mainly geared at juniors. So, and the other thing is that a lot of people prefer matches. I mean, even when I've been to practice sessions, I've generally opted for just playing games. Training, and other people that you go to practice against usually just want to play games as well. So you just tend to end up playing games all the time, which can be good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it did improve my table tennis, but you need a mixture, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, this is one of the things that we found with Sam, was that how difficult it actually is to get him in a situation where he's able to be in a group of adult players that are receiving coaching and actually want to improve and not just play matches all the time.
Exactly, yeah, definitely.
Are you receiving any one-to-one coaching, or are you kind of self-coaching?
Self-coaching, I mean, obviously when I go on the camp, there'll be coaches there, but I've got a good idea of what I need to do. I mean, I've got the basic shots and the strokes, and it's more or less just getting the consistency up and improving confidence on particular shots, like maybe like the flick, for example, that maybe previously I wouldn't have done so often, but I'm starting to do it a lot more, especially the backhand flick. So yeah, I'm coming up with some drills of my own. Actually been using your playbook that you wrote, so thanks for that. That's been useful. That found some of those exercises really good. So,
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Have you thought about getting any one-to-one coaching with anyone?
I haven't really, no. I mean, the thing about that is it's very, if I want to get coaching, it would have to be like a really quality player, I think. And that's the way I view it. And they generally tend to be quite expensive and far away. I might consider it, but it's not something I had considered up to now.
Okay.
Have you got any experience of that yourself, or having been coached one-to-one by a better coach, or?
I mean, when I was in Grantham, we had one-to-one sessions with Alex Perry that were very good.
Yeah.
So, it can be worth it, but I mean, it is very expensive, and it starts to add up quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you're probably talking £30-40 an hour, someone like Gavin Ramgay or whatever, that kind of thing. Plus you'd have to travel to wherever, London or somewhere like that.
Yeah. So your big goals are as a veteran to be competing for Ireland.
Yeah, and the other one is to get into the top 100 in England. As you mentioned to me recently, when I first emailed you, I was 262 in England, and
Yep.
I've recently gone up to 148, which is quite good. And that's only 3 months of training.
It must be most improved ranking player in the last few months, I would think.
I'm not sure, but possibly.
I would think so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, but I mean, at my highest ever, I just about scraped into the top 100, 99. So I'm trying to get to that level again.
How old would you have been in 99?
No, it wasn't 1999. It was 99 was the ranking I got to.
Oh, I see. Right.
No, I wasn't very good in 1999. No.
So when was that then?
This would have been about 8 years ago. So yeah, about 2007.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was when I was using frictionless long pimples, which are of course now banned. So that when they were banned, there was a big slip down the rankings, obviously, because you had to get used to a different rubber, and then obviously they took the 10% ranking points off, and all that kind of culminated in me dropping down to about 300 and kind of lingering between 200 and 300 for the last 8 years.
Yep.
So on the way back up, hopefully.
Yeah, well, it certainly looks like you've made a big jump.
Now, the problem now is to maintain that ranking, because obviously now that I've got a higher ranking, you lose more points for losing to people lower than you, and you gain less for beating higher players.
Yeah.
So it's still a challenge just to maintain where I am, and then obviously to move on. But obviously I'm hoping that this training, especially in August, is going to make that difference. And the other thing is that I should be in band 1 and 2 for the Grand Prix now, because they're bringing the points down to 1700. They'll still take off 10%, which should mean I'll still be in there, but we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, so you'll get to play against kind of higher ranked opponents.
Yeah, and in theory that would mean I should have a better chance of going up the list, but we'll have to see.
So when would be the end point of this challenge? Is it kind of March or April 2016?
I started on around the beginning of April, so end of March 2016.
And how realistic do you think it is to be top 100 then? Because I mean, with our challenge, kind of getting Sam in a year to top 250 was, I think everyone would agree that was pretty unrealistic. But
yes, I never
is top 100 for you realistic? Are other people thinking that you can do it, or are other people thinking that you haven't got a hope?
A bit of a mixture. Some people say, yeah, go for it, you got a good chance. Other people are very doubtful. Okay, you could say I'm halfway there, even more, but the next remaining, 50 places or whatever, that is a lot harder, I think, than the previous nearly over 100 places I've gone up. I think it's harder to get the next 50 places than it was the last 100, but it's achievable. It just depends how much I can improve, really. I mean, if I don't improve, it would be a real struggle. It probably wouldn't happen at all. I've got to improve from what I'm at now, really.
Yeah. Do you think you're ranked at about 150? Do you think that's about fair for how you're playing at the moment?
It's hard to say, because I look at the ranking list and you see, right, all these people ranked below me. I've lost a lot of them. But then you can also look at, I've beaten about 15 people above me this season. So it comes down to styles. It's hard to say. I wouldn't like to say either way, really.
Okay.
It's difficult.
I was whizzing through your Facebook feed this morning.
Okay.
Because that's always an interesting read. And but something that caught my eye was I think you seem to imply that you thought that you kind of didn't have that much natural talent for table tennis. Right. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I didn't start till late on, and I was 15 or so. And the way we used to play was we used to play first to 5 at lunchtime, and everybody used to line up. And, for the first 6 months or so, I used to... Well, actually, it was first to 11, sorry. But if you lost 5-0, it was game over. And I used to go on and lose 5-0. And then you'd wait 15 minutes, and you'd go back on and lose 5-0 again. And that kept going for about 6 months. So I wasn't particularly good. No particular talent. I just played more than everybody else. But by the end of that year, I reckon I was the best in the school. So that's just literally from playing and playing.
So when you hadn't done any practice, you found that generally just other people were better than you.
Yeah, I mean, possibly they'd played more. They probably had played more, but I certainly didn't. It didn't come naturally. I think what happened, the way I started to get reasonably good was I started off getting a lot of spin on my serve, and that led to weaker returns, and then I was able to smash. So my smash got better. So serve and smash was how I played for quite a while.
Yeah.
You know.
Because that's what I found with Sam, was that Sam is not particularly sporty, didn't seem to be that talented for table tennis. Like he would lose to his housemates that also didn't play.
Yeah.
And then, we overcome that to an extent during the year, but it did seem to keep rearing its head that he didn't pick things up as quickly as the average person.
No, I wasn't particularly sporty. I never really played team sports or anything like that. So I wouldn't have called myself sporty at all, really, until I started playing table tennis. And even then, not hugely sporty.
So do you think that that's held you back? And if you were more sporty, you'd be ranked a lot higher, having put in all the work that you have?
No, I don't think so. I think what held me back is starting so late and not having any coaching. Because once I started playing, I started playing properly. I was playing 15 hours a week in school, plus I was practicing at home. I was playing league matches, so I don't think that was the issue. It wasn't that I was unfit or anything. I just wasn't, a natural sportsman, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're kind of saying that for people that don't think that they're particularly talented, it shouldn't really make a huge difference as long as they put in the work and they're able to get all the practice in.
Yeah, I do think so. I suppose you have to be. There's got to be some level. You can't be completely uncoordinated, but at a certain level, yes, I think you can overcome lack of natural talent with a lot of hard work. A bit like what Matthew Syed says in his book Bounce. It's a good read, that was.
Yeah. Okay, so let's think about, you've been doing this challenge for how long? About 4 months now, or 3 months?
Yeah, 3.5 months.
How's it going? How much practice are you actually managing to squeeze in, and what kind of things are you doing in your practice?
Yeah, it's about 6 hours a week. It varies from week to week. I've done as many as 14 in one week and two as little as 2 in another. I am doing a mixture. I'm doing some regular drills, some irregular drills, some point-based drills. Mostly point-based drills, as in starting with a serve and then a return and then 1 or 2 shots after that, possibly 3 shots after that, but in a sequence.
Okay.
Some of them built in irregularity, some of them regular. Yeah, so a bit of a mixture.
Are you trying to make the training quite match specific?
Yes, I think so. As a coach, when I'm doing my coaching sessions, obviously I do bits of everything, but I do like to focus on the match play drills, the point-based drills, which are more realistic. Everybody's got to do your regular footwork and your irregular footwork, but more often than not, I'm doing exercises which start with a serve and a receive, because that's what happens in a match.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, you said before that you were playing with frictionless pimples. Obviously, they were banned a while ago.
Yeah.
What kind of equipment are you playing with now?
So I've still got long pimples. I've got Hellfire on the backhand. I say on the backhand, I twiddle, but it's mainly on the backhand with no sponge in red. And then on the forehand, I've got Bluefire M1 Donic, and then I've got a Donic Wangji blade. It's a light balsa blade with a cork handle, so that's quite nice.
Is that fast or slow?
The blade's slow. Obviously the Bluefire is a fast rubber, and the Hellfire is a very slow pimples rubber.
And what's your strategy, your game plan when you're playing matches?
Well, my first course is to attack. First option is to attack, and failing that, I end up chopping. I used to end up pushing returns of serve, especially if they were short, but now I've brought in the backhand side spin flick, but with the long pimples, interestingly, which not many people do, and that's been very effective.
I think you definitely have the kind of element of surprise advantage when you play people, don't you? Because your style is not the typical one that people come across.
No, I've got some unusual serves, and obviously then with the pimples. Yeah, so definitely the first time I play somebody, I've got an advantage, I reckon.
And in terms of your training, are you doing a lot with one person, or are you kind of just grabbing lots of different people?
It's lots of different people, generally based on their availability. I mean, nobody really plays more than once a week with me, and so I'm generally trying to get 3 or 4 people per week.
Have you got quite a good routine, or is it a bit of a logistical nightmare trying to sort it all out?
Not too bad. It's getting better. So we're getting kind of a regular kind of slot with most of them. Some of them it just depends when they're available on that particular week. But I've got a bit of a mixture of styles I'm playing against. I've got 3 of them have long pimples because they're older people, and then I've got an ordinary, a couple that just play standard attack game. One with anti-spin. What I don't have is a left-hander, so I need to get a bit of practice in with a left-hander.
Sure. Well, from your tournament results that I've seen being posted up, it looks like kind of things are really paying off already, and I was quite surprised to see how quickly you'd started moving up the ranking. You must have had some pretty big wins against people. Yeah,
I think the best ranking win I've had was a guy number 72 in the men's.
Who's that?
It was Luke Walsh.
Okay.
He's 84 now, I think.
And what tournament was that at?
That was at the Sippenham qualifier where I did really well. So I beat him, and I beat this Nigerian who was seeded with a dummy ranking. And he actually beat Stephen Beerling, who was number 30 in England. I came second in the group and went on. And my last match in that tournament, I beat Raj Waterman. So he was about 105 in England, I think. So that was a good tournament for me. And the Nigerian guy went on to win Band 2 in the actual main Heritage Oil event. No, he came second. He lost to Chris Bartram, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get on at the Heritage Oil?
Not brilliantly, not too bad. I lost twice to Jamal Dennison, who was higher than me on the previous list, but lower than me on the current list. I beat Ethan Walsh, who's 112 in England, so that would have been an unexpected win. But okay. I haven't worked out the points, but I guess I would have lost points. I also lost one to a chopper, Edgar Burge, who's below me. So I'd say I lost points, but not massive amount, I don't think.
Have you had any bad losses in the last few months that have really hurt?
What, in ranking tournaments or in...
Yeah, in ranking tournaments.
Well, I guess that one was probably a maximum loss, Edgar Burge in the Heritage Oil.
He actually beat me in the Central League. He's a really tricky player.
He is, yeah. He's a very good chopper. Chops at long pimples on his forehand, and he's got a kind of a spinny backhand. So, yeah, he played well. I mean,
and he's probably really underranked as well, isn't he?
He is. I think he doesn't play very many tournaments. So, I mean, it's not a terrible loss. It's just, in terms of ranking, it's a maximum loss. Other than that, no. I don't think I've had any, losses that stand out, really.
Do you find it hurts a lot more to lose now that you're practicing? Because that was definitely what I found in Grantham.
Yeah, especially
every loss seems so much worse.
Yeah, especially seeing I'd beaten him before I'd done any practice 3 times. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. He played well and I didn't. It doesn't always click, does it?
No.
You just got to accept that it doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take work, and even when you are at a very good level, if you get there, you're still going to have bad losses on a bad day or whatever.
Yeah, it's not a straight line, is it? It's very up and down, but
exactly.
As long as the trend's heading upwards.
Exactly. It's got to put a bad loss behind you, which is difficult, but got to try and do it.
Now, something else I wanted to bring up was I mentioned earlier your Facebook profile.
Yeah.
Your cover photo at the moment is a certain scorecard.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Okay, yeah. It's the result when I played Darius Knight in Jersey, which was 3-2.
I assume everyone knows who Darius Knight is, but he must be about number 5 in England, kind of.
Yeah.
England national team standard player.
Yeah, so I think I won the first game 18-16 or 19-17, I think it was. and I won the fourth 11-8. The other 3 games he won, but yeah, it was a good effort. So I put that on, and I think Darius didn't particularly like it, but it was a bit of fun.
How did that match go? Because you lost that game, but that is a really good result against the top player.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how focused Darius was. He didn't seem that focused. But first game I was attacking quite a lot and doing quite well. And like I say, it was like either 18, 16, 19, 17. And then he was a bit better in the next 2. I think the fourth game I did a bit of chopping, which he seemed to struggle with. A few serves caught him. But I must add here that I did play him about a month later in bats, and he absolutely slaughtered me. 11-3,
Yeah, I was
11-3.
So that was 11-3, 4 and 3.
Something like that, and
Yeah.
he was obviously dead keen to make sure it didn't happen again. So the conditions were a lot faster as well. That's my excuse.
Okay. What kind of tournaments have you got coming up in the kind of near future?
Well, the next one is Liverpool Grand Prix. And then I think
And we're expecting big things from you for that one, having been training so much on the training camps.
Yeah, no pressure then. Yeah, I'm just going to take it as it goes. But then the next one after that is the Irish Senior Classification Tournament. I think it's the week after. What it is, you play on the Saturday to qualify. If you qualify, then you play against the top 16 players in Ireland on the Sunday. So it's a really good tournament.
Okay.
There's also the Hunts 2-star on that Sunday. So I was thinking if I don't qualify for the Sunday...
You got a backup option.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Roughly what's your senior ranking in Ireland? Because I wouldn't have a clue what that would be.
I haven't checked recently, but it's about 30, which I think is a bit low because I don't play enough tournaments. I've beaten a couple of players in the top 15 this season. I'd say 15 to 20 would be more, more like it.
Okay, so you got a decent chance of qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done so in the last few years. I always get to the last round or 2 and then fail at the last hurdle. I have qualified before, but not in the last few years. But I'm hoping with all this training that's going to be different.
Yeah, well, should be.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of like big lesson you've learnt so far from all the training that you could share with other listeners that are keen to kind of step up what they're doing and see some results?
Yeah, I mean, I just think you've got to just practice a mixture of different drills. You've got to do a bit of the just regular grooving shots and footwork drills, bit of irregular drills where you're not sure where the ball's going all the time, and then a bit of service and receive drills, like match play drills. One thing I haven't done, literally because it's a bit boring, is service practice.
That's an ongoing theme, is people not bothering to do service practice.
Yeah, I've done a bit when I've been waiting for someone to turn up, but the thing is that I tend to practice my serves in the drills anyway. I don't just put it into play in the drills. I try and get as much spin or whatever I'm trying to work on the serve anyway, within the drills. That's the way that works for me.
But do you think you might do some in the future for the rest of the year?
I probably should do, really, but whether I actually will get around to doing it or not. I mean, I did have plans on using the robot if I couldn't get a practice partner for a particular day. That just hasn't happened. It just seems like a bit of a chore, but we'll see. If I'm struggling for hours and I can't find practice partners, then it might come out.
Sure.
Same with the service practice.
So if people want to follow along with how you're doing, is there any way they can do so?
Well, they can add me on Facebook. I've also got a Twitter account, but I must say I don't use it very often. Facebook would be the best way, really, I think.
Okay, just add you as a friend on there.
Yeah.
Search for Rory Scott and
there's also the Horsham Spinners Table Tennis Club Facebook page, which they can join as well.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll get them to go and do that. I wish you good luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you. Thanks for it.
I'm really rooting for you. I think if you can get top 100, that would be like such an amazing achievement.
Well, it's interesting because obviously I'm not a junior or that young. I'm like 38, so it's just interesting to see. It's a bit of an experiment, really, to see how good you can get at an older age.
Yeah, like I mean, I went through. I love rankings, so I went through all your rankings for the last 10 years that I could find or
Did you?
whatever. And you've been pretty steady, like some up and down, but roughly 200 for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, so if you can at 38 do a bit of practice and all of a sudden get into top 100, like
Yeah.
I think that would really show that it is
Mhm.
practice that makes all the difference because
Yeah.
you know
But from my
without
point of view,
without being rude, at 38 you should be past it, shouldn't you? Like you shouldn't be that continuing to improve. But
yeah, but I don't believe so because you see
well, no,
people,
me neither. No,
you see people in their 60s and they're improving. So, I mean, I feel I'm as good now as I ever was, really, if not better.
sure.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing, really, isn't it?
Because I mentioned that you were doing this a while ago to just a few other players who were kind of more my age or younger,
Yeah.
and they kind of thought that, well, he's almost 40, hasn't got a hope of getting better. But I think that's just kind of a wrong perception that people have of how it works.
I think it depends what you've done previously. I mean, if I had been a person who had been training day in, day out and kind of already achieved my potential and maybe started at a young age, had coaching, all that, then yes, I tend to agree. But I'm not. I've played a lot, but not had, proper structured training. And I think, yeah, it depends on what that person has done, how if they've achieved their potential yet or not, as to whether they can improve, I reckon.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, but from my point of view, if I don't make the top 100 or play for Ireland, I'm definitely going to get to some extent better than what I was, and that will still be a good achievement in my view.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was what Sam took away from the challenge was that sure he didn't kind of reach the goal, but he got better at table tennis than he ever thought that he would be able to get. So
Yeah, and I love table tennis. That's what I do. So it's not a chore to go out and practice.
no.
No.
Well, thanks for being on the show, Rory. It's
Okay.
been great talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck, and let's see some good results from you.
Thank you very much.
Cool. See you later, Rory.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye. A big thank you to Rory for that interview. Loads of great information in there that I'm sure you'll be able to take and apply to your own game. I know that plenty of you are in similar situations to Rory, where perhaps you don't feel that you're particularly talented or sporty, but you're really keen and you want to improve a lot, and you feel like you missed out somewhat on the coaching that top juniors receive, and you're kind of having to find your way on your own as an adult. And it can be tricky, and we heard that from the interview, how Rory has sometimes struggled to find decent practice partners and kind of string things together. But I really hope that he goes on and achieves this top 100 ranking and plays for Ireland, because it would be such a good example of what is possible, even if you're 38 and haven't really improved your ranking much in the last 7 or 8 years. If you do put your head down, get working, do the practice, go on the training camps, do all the things that you should do, if he can go and achieve that, then that would be incredible. So I hope that you found that interesting and that you're encouraged. I would love it if more of you got in touch with your own challenges or let me know how much you're practicing, because I find that really interesting. I'll have another episode for you next week. I'm actually thinking about getting Sam Priestley on the show and talking to him about how he's doing with his table tennis kind of 6 months after we finished the challenge. If you are an Expert Table Tennis podcast fan, please leave us a review on iTunes, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next week. I've been Ben Larcombe from experttabletennis.com.